コール80を開始して。
しかし、まだプロトコール80の交換も分かっていないのです。
これは最後のチャンスだ。急げ。
了解。
皆さんようこそ。4回1です。今日の動画で Protocol 80 finally. Let's talk about it. So first off, let's start with what is Protocol 80. So Protocol 80 is a course that was released by Ken Cannon, I believe a year or so ago. It was meant to get you to 80% comprehension in Japanese in only 30 days. Which it didn't do, but we'll get into that later. So the method, the idea behind Protocol 80 is that they used a frequency list, which is a list of the Japanese words that are most frequent to least frequent. And you take an analyzer, a text analyzer, and you get this list that's kind of ranks all of the words in order from most frequent to least frequent. So in my opinion, these frequency lists can be really useful if you're a beginner that's trying to just get into immersion to kind of boost your comprehension so that when you start immersing, you're not having problems with ambiguity. So basically in Protocol 80, they have these audio sessions that you listen to every day. And what it is they basically repeat these words with native pronunciation, and they add like a mnemonic in, and they kind of try to do like a spaced repetition thing, which I don't think the spaced repetition in Protocol 80 is as good as what you're going to get with something like Anki, but I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And then the other thing that they have in Protocol 80 is they have these live sessions, and they're like an hour and a half long, if I remember, and basically every day they have like questions and answers, and they also teach like a little like grammar, which out of the whole course I found the grammar part to be probably the most useful to myself, but because I already knew like most of the words going into it, but the grammar part, there was a few things that were new that I learned. However, the lives, I felt like a lot of the cost for the course comes from the fact that they're doing lives every day. And the course was $500 originally. I didn't pay $500 because I got the course as a bonus to the Uproot course. But originally the people that took the course, they paid $500 or more for the course. And I think the main reason for that is because they're doing these lives every day. And in my opinion, they could have structured it a different way so that they could maybe pre-record these things and make an actual course that they had prepared ahead of time instead of making it as they went, which ended up, they made it as they went, and that ended up making the course actually longer than 30 days. So I think they could have just skipped the lives, just pre-prepared everything, and then they could charge people like $60 or something, and I personally feel like that's a much better value than $500, especially if you're a beginner. So let's talk about what was good with Protocol 80. So we talked about the grammar part. I felt like that was good. It didn't have to be live, but I felt like it was good. The other thing is the frequency lists. I feel like frequency lists are a good tool. You don't have to pay for them. You can find good anime frequency lists that are composed by analyzing like thousands of anime episodes. You can find it for free online. Check Reddit. And the other thing that was good was using spaced repetition. Obviously, spaced repetition is the best way to learn things, to learn anything really, in my opinion. Some things are like better to learn like hands-on. Like it depends on the skill, but when it comes to language learning, I think that spaced repetition is the way to go. However, I do have a problem with their spaced repetition. I feel like there's not enough repetition in the audio sessions for each word. And so I feel like it would have been better to do something like Anki, as opposed to like doing the spaced repetition in these like audio recordings. The other thing that I thought was really good is that they did these stories. So every day, I think it was every day, except until the end they stopped doing them because they ran out of time. But for a while, every day they had these stories that you listened to. And it was basically taking all the words that you learned and then making them into a story so that you can kind of cement them in your brain. I thought this was a really good idea and a really good way to kind of concrete, like cement the like new vocabulary like in your brain when you're actually hearing it within like a context. Unfortunately, they had to stop doing this halfway through, which was unfortunate. And that's another reason why I think they should have prepared everything beforehand and then released the course, because then they wouldn't have to like rush to get all these things out, and they could have had everything the way it should be. So that's what I thought was good about the course. Let's talk about what I thought was not so good about the course. The first thing that sticks out to me as being like really, really bad about Protocol 80 is the native audio that was in the audio recordings. The native audio was done by Ken Cannon's girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure which, but basically she made these audio recordings and she's a voice actor. But the problem is that she actually voice acted the audio recordings for the words. So you're getting this repetition of native audio, but it's voice acted like an anime, and some of them were even like sung, and it was really weird. A lot of people like in the live sessions were talking about how they couldn't understand the words because they're like voice acted in this like weird way, like an anime character. If you're trying to learn like standard Japanese, I think that having this like strange pronunciation and like sung pronunciation just like repetitively like crammed into your brain is not really the best course of action, especially if you want to learn like good pitch accent and things like that. I mean, some of the pronunciations were just so weird, and they did that on purpose because I think they were trying to make it like kind of a mnemonic and kind of maybe get you used to like hearing like weird pronunciation in anime or something. But yeah, personally, I think that's a really, really bad decision when you're trying to learn a language, is to just like have the wrong pronunciation like constantly repeated over and over again, and to absorb that. I think that's a really, really bad idea. The next thing that I thought was really not so good, which I already talked about, is that the stories actually stopped like halfway through the course because they got behind. It seems like Ken Cannon has a problem with maybe scheduling and like deciding like how long something's gonna take. It seems like he kind of imagines things are gonna be able to get done really fast. He kind of overpromises and under-delivers. So, and that was the case with the stories. So the stories were every day until like halfway through, and then basically they were like, oh well, we're not going to do them anymore because we don't have time, and and most of the time was taken up by like the lives. And I feel like if they didn't have these live sessions, they could have charged much less for the course and also invited a lot more people in to take it. Alright, so here's my final issue with the course, and this is probably the biggest one, is that the frequency, so they promise that you're going to get to 80% frequency in 30 days, which it went over 30 days. But the other issue is that they don't actually, the amount of words that they teach you doesn't actually add up to 80%. What I did is I took other frequency lists that are made by analyzing thousands of anime. I compared it to 2 different frequency lists. And the amount of words that adds up to 80%, they weren't teaching you that amount of words in the class. It was much, much less. And I understand that they removed a lot of redundant words and a lot of things like things like that you don't really need to learn as like vocabulary from the list. But even taking that into account, it was not enough words to add up to 80%. So that's a really big issue, considering that in the marketing, they're saying that you're going to be able to get to 80% comprehension. You're going to be able to understand 80% of like any normal anime show that you watch or whatever you watch. And that's just not the case. In my estimation, it was more like 65%, something around there, depending on the frequency list you use. But the frequency list that I was comparing it to, they used thousands and thousands of anime episodes compiled and analyzed to get this frequency list. And you know, in the course, Ken says that they also used like a bunch of anime episodes to make their frequency lists. So the fact that it doesn't quite match up, that's a really big issue, especially since they're trying to sell you another course that's called Protocol 90 to get you to 90% comprehension. But I mean, who knows what that course actually gets you to? Does that get you to the 80%? Who knows? So yeah, that's a really big issue, and possibly even like an FTC issue. Like that's a really big thing. So in the end, is it worth $500 to get Protocol 80? In my opinion, hell no. No, I would not pay $500 for this course. If I were a beginner trying to boost myself into like some comprehension, because I'm starting to do immersion, I'm having like an ambiguity gap issue, what I would do is I would find one of those free frequency lists that I mentioned. I think you can find a really good one on Reddit. And I would just take those words and put them into Anki and just study that way. I think you would get a much better result. You wouldn't have like the stories, but you have anime that you are going to watch and immerse in, so you don't really necessarily need those stories. It's definitely not worth paying $500 for, especially since they didn't like follow through with all of them. If I were Ken Cannon, what would I do to fix the course? The first thing I would do is I would take out the lives, pre-record everything, and well, obviously they've already got the lives recorded, so but I would go ahead and just record the rest of the stories, and then I would make it 60 days so that they can fit in the extra words that they need to fit in order to actually get to 80%, so that they're not like just like blatantly, I don't want to say that they're lying, but I mean, I don't know what else to call it. Like, you're not getting to 80% comprehension with the amount of words that they're teaching in this course. So that's all I have to say about Protocol 80. I'm gonna hopefully come out with a new video for Uproot as soon as I feel like I've taken enough of it to give an update. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I know a lot of people, I mean, not a lot, but relatively a lot for how new this channel is, watch these videos, but I only have 200 subscribers, so what's up with that, guys? Please subscribe, please leave a like, and watch out for the next video, which hopefully will be an update about Uproot. Thanks. Peace. Nagisa eiko, Nagisa eiko. Something, 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 shiroi happy beachy.